What's up, everybody? You're watching the From WordPress to Statamic YouTube channel. My name is Michael. Today, I want to start talking about a topic which is something that you'll probably run into sooner or later working with Statamic, and that is handling large amounts of media. Maybe you're working with large video files or have lots of images or audio or something like that, and you don't want it to fill up your Git repo if you're working with just the flat file system, for example. You may want to link to an external storage solution like S3 or DigitalOcean Spaces so that you can offload all that media and you just actually reference it through Statamic. This is a great way to keep your repo from growing too big, and you can even enable CDNs in front of those assets for better performance and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about how we might do that in Statamic. In my test install here, I've created this fake podcast collection, and I've got an episode, but I don't have any assets tied to it yet. So what I want to do is configure an asset container to hold my audio files. So for now, let's just go into the control panel just to see what we're doing. So I've got this assets. This is the default asset library. If I go into my podcast and I want to configure, let's look at the blueprint right now. I've got this audio file field. If I was to edit this, right now I only have this one asset container to choose from. But right now I want to actually upload these to somewhere like DigitalOcean and create an asset container that will link to that. So I'm going to start by coming over to this tab here. So in the docs, using DigitalOcean Spaces for an asset container. This is exactly what we want to do. So following the instructions, first I need to use this AWS Fly System adapter. So I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to come into my terminal here and install this so that I have this to work with. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. So make sure you start with this step. Okay, it looks like we're done. Now, the next thing I need to do is configure a file system. So I can actually just copy this whole thing. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to come over into the config file systems in sort of the root of the Laravel app here. And if you scroll down, you'll see disks. And the S3 is an example. So I'm just going to come in here and right before that, I'm going to paste that. And I'm not going to worry about the formatting for now, but DO, so DigitalOcean Spaces is what we're working with. And it's giving us a bunch of environment variables that it wants to reference. And the next thing down here is the empty ones. So I'm just going to copy that as well. And I'm going to go over into the env and we'll paste that in, and then we'll go into DigitalOcean and generate all this information so that we can tie it all together. Okay, so first of all, let's just read some of this stuff. So the key and secret can be generated in the API section of your dashboard. So that's in DigitalOcean. We'll get to that. You can find the endpoint in the Spaces settings. This is an example of what it will look like. The region and the bucket. You only need to set the root if you want this disk to be a subfolder of your space. It's uncommon. We're not going to talk about the use case here. So we're actually going to omit the root. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one for now. And visibility public. And then we can go back and edit the asset field so to reference this space instead of the default one. Okay, so we are good there. Let's find the env file. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm just going to paste all this stuff. Keep the formatting a little bit tight. And we were talking about getting rid of the root, so I'm just going to get rid of that one as well. Now, I'm going to come over to DigitalOcean, where I have an account, and down over here, the Spaces object storage is what I want to use. So I'm just going to create the Spaces bucket like that, and I'll just stick with the defaults for now. San Francisco is fine. And just give this a test audio bucket. So this is the unique name. And as you can see, $5 a month is what this is going to cost me. And it's plenty of storage and all that kind of stuff for not much money. So this is a great solution for holding a bunch of data. So I'm going to create my bucket. Okay, now that I've made it into here, I can actually grab the endpoint here. I'm just going to copy that, but I'm going to actually use that as the full URL. And then I'm going to get this part here, which is the name of our bucket. It's going to go there. And I can determine the region from this part, right? I'm in San Francisco. 3. And then the endpoint is just, I can configure the URL like this, https sfo3.digitaloceanspaces.com. And then the DigitalOcean key and secret come from the settings, which is where I need to go to generate those. So you can see down here, I'm going to create an access key. So I'll click on there. And we're working with the test audio bucket, which is the one that I want. So it's limited right now. So maybe I want to do read, write, and delete. That's probably fine. And I'm going to call this test bucket key. And we'll create that access key. Okay, and so the name is there. Okay, and the secret is there. And I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it in here. And don't worry about trying to copy this because I'm going to delete this as soon as this video is uploaded. So this is all going to go away. And the access key ID, actually, maybe this is the one that I want here. So there we go. I'm going to paste that in right there. Okay, now that all this is done, I'm going to go back into my Statamic dashboard over here. Now that I'm in my main assets area, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click Create Container. And here I'm going to call it DO Audio. And the file driver here, now I have access to this DO spaces, which is how we named it in our file systems config. So I'm going to click on there. And I'm just going to leave all this as it is for now. So I'll save that. And now if I come back over here, I click on assets, and I've got my regular assets, and I've also got my DigitalOcean audio, which for now is empty. And if I go back into my podcast, and let's edit the blueprint. And so my audio file now, I can specify the assets to use the DigitalOcean audio container. So whenever I upload an asset from here, it will pipe it directly into my DigitalOcean bucket, but I can still see it in my asset library here. So I'll save that. Okay, so let's go back to our podcast and see if this works. So I'm going to click on my episode 1. I'm going to browse. So right now this container is empty, so I'm just going to click my finders off screen here. I'm just going to drag it in here. So this is my audio file that I'm uploading, and there it is. And I'll save it and publish it. Okay, now I come back over to episode 1, and there it is. And you can see this file is 52 seconds long, but let's just inspect. So if I was to look at this audio tag, you can see that the URL there is the test audio bucket from my DigitalOcean spaces. And if I press play, there you go. You can see that it's working, and it's playing it from my DigitalOcean bucket and not from like my local repo here. And if I come back over to DigitalOcean here, let's just go back over to files. And you can see, well, there's my trailer. It's already been uploaded. I didn't have to do hardly any work here. A lot of this is from Laravel. The Statamic guys did a great job in just using the Laravel stuff to make the connection to these buckets super easy. Just by adding these environment variables, connecting it to our file systems in the config to reference them inside of the Statamic control panel where I create a container and basically just reference my DigitalOcean space here. And it just works. So this is a great way to avoid filling up your Git repo with lots of media that you don't want to track in there necessarily. It's just going to live separately, and we'll just reference it. And that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't already, sign up for my email newsletter. The link is in the description. Catch you next time.